Hello everybody, you're watching Pastor Michael and I'm back today with another YouTube video for you. You know, when I said I was going to make this video on this topic, I felt that I wanted to have a bunch of notes to put out to kind of keep everything organized like a lot of the other messages that I've done. But honestly, when it really just gets down to this topic, I feel like the best thing to honestly do is just speak from my heart and just let the Lord speak through me and just say what needs to be said. So I'm going to do this without notes. I'm just going to do this completely free, and we're going to see how this goes out. So, in order to really give out everything that I want to say, let's really start from the beginning. I've shared with you guys a lot personally about my life and my growth in Christ and being a youth leader at my church now. And for those of you that don't know, the short version really being is when I was 16 years old, I went through a very hard period of time where I didn't have a very strong relationship with Christ, and I was blaming God for a lot of the issues and personal depression that I was dealing with, and I found myself very distant from God at that point in time. And from really slowly going back to Christ, and from a play that the current church that I'm at now had performed, it was that kind of sparked me to rededicate my life to Christ and really help me get my life back together. And thankfully for God, for the past 4 years that I've been there, He's helped me grow personally, become stronger as a man, and be in the position that I'm at right now. And I'm so thankful and happy for that. But that was not to say that with being in that position there weren't hardships that came along the way, and that's something that we're going to personally talk about right now. You know, this is the thing that honestly irritates me, and honestly I feel was the saddest thing that I have ever heard. A couple years back, I heard a person at my church say, "I love the atmosphere, I love how close I can feel a relationship with God, I love the preaching, but honestly, the thing that will make me not want to come back is the people." I want you to take a moment and I want you to think about that. Because it's not just me that they're talking about. It's not just other people they're talking about. It's people just like you and me. When you're in high school, you don't go into high school feeling like you're not going to be talked about by other people. You can kind of assume that somebody's going to say something about you, somebody's going to dislike you, somebody's going to have something negative to say about you. That's the generation we live in. We like to ridicule everybody for different things. And I know personally, I was ridiculed in high school, in middle school, for tons of different things. Whether it's just the fact that I didn't talk the same way that a lot of guys that look like me talk, or the music that I was into wasn't the same thing that they listened to, the people that I chose to be friends with wasn't the same people they chose to be friends with. Whatever reason that may be, there was always something that I could find myself being ridiculed of and being put in the attention of. I accepted that. It went through a period of time where I hated it, but I accepted it. But what happens when it gets to a point where you find that the place that you feel that you should be accepted in is the place that's giving you the most rejection that you could possibly feel? Now, I know personally, when I rededicated my life to Christ, one of the biggest push and pulls that I felt was just that there were times when I was at my church and I felt such a peace in my spirit just being there, and I didn't want to go back to my high school. Because when I went back to there, you could hear people talking about profanity, you could hear people talking about stuff that I wanted absolutely nothing to do with. And to have to go back to that and then go back to church, it just felt like such a push and pull on my spirit. It just felt like nothing felt even. And to me, when people in the church start bringing that in, that's when you start to completely like lose sight in everything that you feel that you've learned and that you've made. And and just from stuff like that, to me, that I feel like that's one of the biggest issues with our generation today, is just that we love to judge people. We love to judge people. We love to find some fault in other people, whether it just be something that someone has posted or something that someone has said in the past tense. And you know, one of the things I absolutely hated, is to see a young girl in our youth ministry that can come back from dealing with some personal issues and wanting to come back to get right with Christ. And you can hear people ridicule her and say, how dare she come back in here and like worship God and act like nothing's wrong, and we know what she did. No, how dare you? How dare you ridicule her when you don't even know what she's gone through? I think a lot of you tend to forget all of us have fallen short in the eyes of God. Not just me, not just you, every single person on this earth. Nobody is perfect. And the one thing I want you to grasp is just talking about someone doesn't prove who they are. It just proves the person that you are. I know, personally, I'm not perfect, and even after rededicating my life with Christ, I've had times where I've fallen and I've made mistakes, and I've done things that I've regretted. And thankfully, I've had people in my life that have not only seen the real me, but have not held me accountable for my mistakes. Well, maybe not hold accountable, but have not dwelled in the past of my mistakes. Because they've seen who I can be. And that's the thing I always like to say. I always say whenever someone's struggling with something, and they can always say, how can you still be my friend knowing what I did? And it said, I don't care about who you were, I care about who you are. I care about how God sees you and the person that you're going to become. And I don't know how many of you have forgotten about that, or kind of forgotten where you've come from, or how far that you've gone, or the mistakes that you've made. But the fact is, there was a point of time where you wanted to have somebody by your side to stand with you when no one else did. Because I know I walked through a period of time where I'm walking around and everybody's ridiculing everything that I did, and I'm in a situation where I don't feel like I have anybody, and I just wanted somebody to say, I've got his back, but no one had it. And thankfully, people came in my life that did, and God sent people in my life that showed me that I am not who they say I am, I'm who God says I am. I feel like the worst thing that you can deal with in high school is having fake friends. I mean, I had a lot of them. When they say that a lot of people you were friends in high school with, you're not going to be friends with after high school, they're 100% right. And that was the case with a lot of the friendships I had. But I'd like to think a lot of the friendship after I had in high school would be friendships that stuck. And they weren't. And to me, nothing shows more what a real friend is when you're going through a hard period of time and you have people that are going to build you up. And honestly, I've had a great small group of friends that when I did go through a tragedy, as you all know, my aunt passed away this year, that was personally a very hard thing for me to deal with. And if it wasn't for their prayers and their encouragement and really just them being real, genuine friends, I don't know where I would personally be. But knowing that God has blessed people in my life that are like roots that keep the tree strong in the ground when a storm comes, I'm thankful for that, and I don't take that for granted. And I want you to think about kind of the person that you're being. Are you a person that someone in your church feels that they can rely on, that won't judge them? Because let's talk really about that. Everybody loves to treat everybody like a best friend when everything's going hunky-dory, or whatever you want to call it when things are in church. You're all going to church on Sunday. You guys are going to Sunday school. You guys are grabbing Starbucks before the service starts. But what happens when things goes bad and one of you guys makes a mistake? What happens when one of your friends sends a text or sends a picture of something that they end up regretting sending, and then before you know it, everything's over social media, or everything's in the public, and then everything's being shamed in their eyes, and they're ashamed to come back to church, and they're humiliated? Are you the friend that's going to stand by them and not look at them for their mistake? Or are you going to be with the crowd that's ready to throw rocks like the woman that was caught in adultery? When Jesus said, let he who is without sin throw the first stone, did any of them come forth? Because all had sinned in the eyes of God. And we don't know what he wrote when he started to write in the sand. For all we know, he could have written every single sin that man had committed from a year ago, a month ago, maybe their whole entire life. And some of the skeletons in their closet are things that people would never want them to see. And they wouldn't want anyone to see for themselves. The reason I'm talking about this today is because I've been seeing this so rampantly lately. And honestly, and I'm going to say this with no shame, I'm sick of it. Because I should be able to walk into a youth ministry and not hear about, did you hear about what so-and-so did? I should be able to walk into a youth service and not hear gossip that I heard back when I was in 6th grade or 8th grade or 12th or whatever. It's not the place for that to be. And the thing about it is, the more that you deny that you guys are doing it, or the more that we deny that, gossip isn't something that's found in the church, the more it's never going to change. A man died years ago because of his love for other people. He didn't die for us to show hate towards one another. And if we are going to call ourselves Christians, we need to learn to live and be that example. And we need to learn to be real friends. Because the world's filled with fake people and the world's filled with fake friends. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of a generation that's being fake. I thank you all for just tuning in with this message today and kind of this rant video. Make sure to like, subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming for you. Till then, take care, God bless, and let's be real, not fake. Love you guys.